fix it over to the mobile. And so we could read a little from his health tips to see what he thinks. He has some pretty good videos on YouTube in regards of raw milk, for example, and in regards of candida and all that. I must say that, of course, as usually, one doesn't agree with everything, but it's very nice to, he does have some good information, interesting information, and again, leading back to the information that I see others promoting in regards of going back to that tooth guy, and that was one of the reasons why I actually tried Locust. Actually, of course, Locust, according to the Bible, is clean, and they're actually pretty tasty. They're also pretty expensive. I tried, dried frozen, I think they're called, and then standard frozen, and I found out that the big ones are less tasty, less flavorful than the small ones. So where did I put it? Didn't I put it on maybe I put it on the other one, SD card. Should be here somewhere. There we go. 21 Nutrition and Health Lies ebook edition 2. And this is from Mike. Not sure which one we should choose here. We should try number 2 and see how that goes. Where did my glasses go? I have a way of just loading document. Let's see. And page 1. Don't know if that will work. Okay, rendering. Okay. And it looks, I guess. Don't they have like where you can see just zoom in, add to favorite? No. No ad available, but you may click here to upgrade to, that's bullshit in regards to advertising. Advertising is that's just of the devil. So, most of the time anyway, usually it's just in regards of alcohol, right? Alcohol, beforehand it was smoking and other stupidities. Now let's try another program. Pocketbook or ebook reader. Let's try ebook. It would be nice if they, fix that it wouldn't actually do like this, because then it would probably be perfect. It looks pretty well. The image doesn't look so good. So here's Mike down there that has made this booklet. 21 Nutrition and Health Lies Making You Sick. You don't need that organ. Let's cut it out. And I guess Mike is not a Christian as far as I understand it. I think he actually made a little fun of. So, of course, hopefully he will come around on that. Not going into Roman Catholicism, but of course becoming a Protestant, a Christian Protestant. Who knows who the Antichrist is and so forward. Maybe I can turn the up. There we go. That would of course be nice, so many people are in Satan's candy store, and I guess it's a little. Oh, there we go. That should be pretty big. Oh, it's very sad that the application doesn't have a lock feature, so you could that destroys it a little, so it flies around on the screen. So that's really a feature they should do, because it would actually be perfect just if they. Anyway, so 21 Nutrition and Health Lies Making You Sick, authored by Mike, the Heal Your Gut guy. I'm not sure I actually wrote that in regards to Heal. Anyway, second edition, October 2019, and health disclaimer, of course, we don't need that, because we hopefully can think for ourselves. And of course, in regards of doctors and all that, how we have gotten ruined our it's just sad how the information from the people has been taken away from them. Good food sources, the destruction of food, and putting on going out drinking and destroying their health like I did, or smoking and drinking a lot of pasteurized milk. I could pretty much live off milk nearly. Milk, smokes, and alcohol pretty much in my younger years, and that was very bad, because I ended up getting health issues. Who would have thought? doing all the anyway. Actually, I had another problem that stressed me out, which sadly, might also have been a good factor in regards of actually leading me into a lot of other stupid things. But anyway, that was in regards of my butthole. Bleeding in my butthole. Yeah, pretty much. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible. We had this state paper, we call it, and they put it on the toilets, I guess, to save money, on the schools and so forward. Totally, yeah. How that's just it's cruel. I think it's utter cruel. Now, I don't think we have that kind of paper anymore, but that was just utter disgusting. How can you even do that, That's utterly, I think it's criminal, actually. But, and of course, we have something called the bidet, which is like an ass pistol where you can just blow water up in your hole and clean yourself out without any issues in regards of doing damage to your asshole or to your butthole or to your the great star in the end. Anyway, table of contents, and of course Mike also had some stories in regards to the butthole or something of that nature. Of course, his problems are different than mine, but he fixed his issues, which is very nice. I haven't really fixed mine. So I'm still battling over these. I don't know if I'm ever going to, but whatever. I'm not dead yet. Of course, it will happen at some point. Of course, the only pill really that actually can give us everlasting life would of course be Yeshua, who died for the sins of the world. That's pretty much the cure for death in this world. There's pretty much none other. So then of course there's the broad way that leads to destruction. That's the second death, where both body and soul will perish forever and ever and ever, and you will be no more. The first death is pretty much only the body, So we have introduction, table of content. Everything around us dies, right? And it goes downhill. Things get broken and it rushed and so forward, and so anyway, table of contents, introduction. So we have lie number 1, whole grains are good for you. Lie number 2, dairy isn't good for you. Lie number 3, salt isn't good for you. Lie number 4, sugar isn't good for you. Lie 5, saturated fat and cholesterol isn't good for you. Lie 6, alcohol isn't good for you. I'm gonna say again, there are some points where I'm like, that doesn't sound so good. But anyway, I know he drinks some alcohol in regards of kombucha, and I've in the past made kombucha, and that just made me, that's just the worst fermentation I ever done in regards of I've tried milk kefir, water kefir, kombucha, and sauerkraut and all that, and I also tried fermenting oats and all that. That was also a very bad experience. But the best fermentation I tried, of course, I made some yogurt here after looking into Mike, and I really need to see if I can. I've looked into raw milk before, but the problem is it's so hard to get, and I've talked to the Food Administration, government stupidity and all that, and all the rules that they have, that you need to go to the place where they sell the milk, and he's only allowed to sell 70 liters or something like that, and they need to cool it. There's a lot of insanity rules. They are not allowed. I've seen people that actually wants to get this raw milk out to the people, and they're not allowed to do it. It's just disgusting. I find it utterly criminal. It's and I would, it seems Mike has some of the same views on that. He seems to have, open eyes to what is going on in regards to this filthy world. But of course, you haven't figured out who, in regards to the truth of Yeshua HaMashiach or Jesus Christ yet. And hopefully he will turn to him at some point. when he figured out that the poop doom is coming. The so-called New World Order, which is pretty much just the old world order in some sense on steroids, I guess. I called it poop doom. The Roman Emperor, wants to have full control over the whole world. He thinks he has the authority to have that. Both political, temporal, and civil matters. He thinks he's the head of all that. And not only that, he thinks he's the head of all spiritual things on this very earth. He's the Antichrist of the number 666. That is the seat and the papacy. The office of the office and seat of the papacy is the biblical, historical, prophetic Antichrist. And now and every single Protestant in the past knew about that because they read their Bibles and they knew real history. And not all that bullshit coming from Rome and all that and the sources. Anyway, it was unadulterated history. Anyway, so let's see. Sugar isn't good for you. That's number 4. Lie 5. Saturated fat and cholesterol isn't good for you. Lie 6. Alcohol isn't good for you. I would be very careful in regards to the alcohol. In regards of, let me see, kombucha, absolutely no go for me. Water kefir, absolutely no go. Milk kefir was actually the best thing I tried of any, and it's some years ago because my my kefir grains at some point got. But that was actually that was actually one of the best fermentations that I tried. When you was drinking it, you felt good. You didn't get the boss in regards of an alcoholic boss. You could do that with the kombucha and the water kefir for sure. So the milk kefir made you feel good, and it it didn't give you the boss. And it's probably also the sauce that had less sugar in it. In regards to it makes the sugar, I think, if I remember correctly, the lactase, and you can see how it begins to, what is it called, divide itself, where you have the whey, I think it's called, in the bottom, for example, and you have the solid things in the top and all that. And I tried to make the yogurt thing without anything and all that with the yogurt with milk and all that, and just putting a little different kinds of yogurts in them and mix it up and all that, and then a stand or in the oven and all that, just heat it a little up, and of course it did make yogurt, but it didn't really do the same thing as the kefir in regards to where you could see the kefir was just totally eating everything up in and if you needed to be careful in regards of being too late in regard, because it would become very solid and very small in regards to the kefir. Anyway, kefir pretty much, if you want to try any kind of fermented thing, I would go for the kefir in regards. I don't know in regards to raw yogurt. I haven't tried that. I would really like to try that. Mike, shows this 20 to 24 hours fermentation. And the only thing that I've had access to was pasteurized. And again, it still seems I have some problems with the sugar, but it's a long time with the kefir anyway. And I didn't really, in regards to the yogurt, I didn't really get the feel-good feeling that I got from the kefir. The yogurt didn't really give me the feeling of feeling good like I felt when I drank the kefir, the kefir milk. So again, and I know that others are talking about, you have to be careful in regards to the alcohol and all that. I don't think there's much alcohol in milk kefir. There might be a little, but I never really felt any buzz from it like I did with kombucha and water kefir. And the problem is there's still sugar in those products. You have sugar and alcohol together. It's a very bad combination in regards of So, but you have to try things out. But anyway, I would, the milk kefir, that's something I'm thinking of maybe going back to and getting some grains again. That was very very good. But I would like it actually to, have some raw milk yeah, I need some experience with the raw milk. It's something that they can divide for different things, and you have was like three products in one product in some sense. I can't remember everything. These things one should have known from childhood. All these things in regards of health related things. Anyway, so alcohol isn't good for you. Well, I don't know if that is a direct lie, but again, I guess he will go into why and so forward. But I would be very careful of alcohol. If I had a candida problem, I would keep far, far. I think if I had gotten the right instructions at the beginning of my issues, stop drinking alcohol, stop smoking, and maybe changing your diet and so forward, I think I probably could have turned the things around of my issues. At least there had been a good chance that it would have been, a lot easier also to combat the problem at the beginning than 19 years later. So anyway, alcohol isn't good for you. Okay, that's apparently a lie. But anyway, I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, lie 7: carbohydrates, grains, starches aren't good for you. That's apparently a lie. Again, lie number 8: red meat isn't good for you. Well, red meat has been the best food that I have found. And I wish I had figured that out, instead of actually 18 or 19 years down the line, I figured out that if I actually only eat red meat, I can pretty much stop the itch in my groin or in my penis. And that's just wonderful to get total relax. And I found out when I began to try this that just a little bit of sugar and things could actually stir things up. So if I just ate red meat, I could pretty much, have a relax, being relaxed from that age. Now, of course, I had an explosion this year in regards of, going down to my skin and so forward. So now so many weird issues and all that. But anyway, I hope that the diflucan would cure that. It does seem to actually have, I'm a little, it's a little hard to figure. It's still there for sure, but it seems to be less. I'm hoping that it will eventually take it out, but I don't know. I'll have to see. Time will tell. I still have the ability to get for 2 weeks more in regards to the diflucan, but of course that's drugs, so that's not natural in any case. That's a synthetic thing that is created by the medical industry. It took a very good deal to actually get it from them because they don't think fungus is a problem at all. So in people that hasn't HIV or cancer, of course cancer, if it's, as far as I know, it's just fungus. So on a so late term that they figure out, oh, there's cancer. Well, maybe the cancer is just an overgrowth of fungi. Now, apparently it's complaining in regards of the connection, but that might, I don't know. Didn't we actually have on 4G? Yeah, we are on 4G, so there shouldn't be any problem. So, seafood isn't good for you. No, see here. Let's see here. Let's go here. Red meat isn't good for you. So that's line number 8, according to this. Then we have line number 9. Cured meats aren't good for you. And he talks about that also in the videos in regards. And I really, I was so into cured meats, but I actually took it out because I was... So I don't know about that. It makes sense, some of the things he says in regards to cured meats. Where they also put herbs that actually fight these bad buggers, so the meat is not destroyed. So as long as this is in regards of a natural process, that seems to might actually be able to be helpful. I don't know. But I guess he goes into that. Seafood isn't good for you. That's line number 10. By the way, in regards to the Bible, there's a lot of seafoods that is not, clean. That would be lobster, crabs, shrimps, eels. I think it's unclean as well. It doesn't have I think it doesn't have what is it called, shells, or what is it called, the yeah, it has to have shells and fins. What's it called, shells? I think it's called shells anyway. You know the no shells. No, what is it called? Scales, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't think an eel has scales, so if it doesn't have scales, it's considered unclean. Has to have scales and fins to be considered clean according to the Bible. So that's probably some of the seafood. Clams are also considered unclean. Or so pretty much all the foods that are seen like a really, really, fine food, and it's just bullshit pretty much. According to the Bible, it's unclean food. So anyway, it's just turning things upside down, but I guess Satan is good to do that. Well, he is pretty much. So lie number 11, it isn't dangerous to microwave food. Well, I don't have a micro oven anymore. I threw it out many, many years ago. So, but I read a little of it actually. Not sure, and he said, he goes by the caution here. But anyway, line number 12. Vegetable oils aren't dangerous. And again, I can't even get tallow in my country. There's no way I can get tallow. I want to have tallow. Can I get tallow? No, you can't get tallow. You can only get all these oils, right? So vegetable oils to the end of the eye, can see nearly, But tallow, no, you can't have tallow. That's just, tallow from cows or tallow from sheep. You can get some kind of lard, but lard comes from pig, and pig is considered unclean. And of course, having it from a natural cow that is going out and grassing and so forward, or a sheep that is grassing and all that, that would be, awesome. And as I understand it, there's some good things in it, and there's no sugar in it. The problem I have with butter is that I actually, when I began to test the meat diet and all that, just having a little sugar in the butter actually makes the thing go. So I could actually figure out which, just eggs, even eggs. I don't understand. I was like, is there sugar? Apparently some eggs, there's sugar in it. Not all eggs, if you look at it, there's some that says there's sugar in it. At least I was like, oh, that's. So I actually had to take pretty much, if I took everything out and pretty much only ate meat, I could pretty much have total silence down there in the south. And that was awesome. Having lived so many years with, issues down there, that was just so nice. And sadly, some months ago, I did stupid and I went to the bakery 5 days in a row and even bought some sugary thing in the bakery, and it is just totally exploded, this thing that I have in the body, and gave me itch pretty much nearly all over my body. And that's the time where I thought, in regards of knowing about Diflucan and all that, I was like, okay, let's try Diflucan, let's go for it, and see if it helps, because this is, that was horrible, Anyway, and that was, I was very stupid because I should have just continued in regards of eating meat. So I'm still trying to figure things out. It takes a lot of resources in regards to money, and it takes a lot of time doing all the research and all that. And it's just sad. It's just sad. So sad how much time and how little help you can actually get in this society. They can't figure out what is the problem and all that. Well, probably fungus related, and thereby, But anyway, so lie number 13, your disease is genetic and out of your control. That's bullshit, We can always change our ways, And what we put in our mouth absolutely have a difference in regards of our health, If you're drinking alcohol and stuffing yourself with alcohol and alcohol and alcohol, your health will decline, very quickly. So it's another solution. I used it like a solution to get away from my other problem, and then I just got another problem. It's not a solution. It's absolutely not a solution. So line number 13, your disease is genetic and out of your control. And again, in regards to the alcohol, if I had been drinking more natural sources, maybe, I don't know, would maybe have, I don't know, or had a less chance of. But yeah, we have so much, crappy food, yeah. Like the cucumber, for example. The cucumbers you can buy in the stores, we have them from Spain and it just totally taste of water, overblown water, the cucumbers. Sometimes they have some from Denmark and they are absolutely better. But compared to what you can make in your garden, there's still a long way for that. But absolutely, the Danish ones are absolutely better. Sadly, I haven't been able to get them for quite some time. I don't know why they don't sell them and sell these Spaniards, water filled cucumbers. Anyway, so your disease is genetic and out of your control. Yeah, that would be a lie. Lie number 14, coffee and caffeine isn't bad for you. And he goes into that. That is interesting in regards of. But it's just sometimes it's. I remember when I did huge doses of vitamins many years ago, and had like 2 or 3 days where I jumped, I slept like a rock, and I woke up in the morning and I was just fresh. I didn't need any coffee or anything. I was just fresh and all that. And sadly, I ruined it with actually drinking just 1 to 2 what do you call it? Beer. What do you call it? Just a swallow of 1 to 2 times swallow of a beer, and I was back at my old self. And sadly, I couldn't really. It was also very expensive as well, taking all these different vitamins, and I really don't know what combination actually did it for me. And I tried to get back to. Sadly, I couldn't figure out what I did that actually made me feel so good for nearly 3 days. And I'm so sad that I did so stupid and was lured by a friend to go to this place where they sell alcohol. Oh, it was just terrible. I so regret that. I should have. I just, but that's the way it is, and I guess I wanted to go out and exercise and all that, so I called him up and all that, and then he wanted to go to and sadly it was so bad, so bad and so sad. I'm so sad that I didn't just continue. Of course, at some point it might actually have gone down anyway, but at least I could, the alcohol just totally, you could see how quickly the alcohol just totally annihilated the good effect that I gotten from all the vitamins and whatever. Bought different things from a place and just, took a huge, I was trying huge doses of vitamin C at that point as well. Just taking different kinds of B vitamins, trying different things, and apparently I apparently hit a good connection in regards to this, but I still felt like there was something that actually took the nutritions away. So even if putting so many vitamins in is, that I didn't really get. I think the candida has, whatever. Anyway, let's get back to it. So, coffee and lie 14, coffee and caffeine isn't bad for you. Lie number 15, too much vitamin A isn't good for you. And of course, that would be in regards of eating liver. There can be a lot of vitamin A, but of course, it depends on those two different. If you eat carrots, you can pretty much eat as much carrots without any problem because the body will just convert it to the vitamin A that is in the liver usually, But the vitamin A in regards to the liver, it's something that the body doesn't, it's just the form that is. And if I've experienced in regards of eating too much liver can actually make you feel bad. I don't know if it's the vitamin A, but that could absolutely be one of the things I would think that. So if you eat too much cod liver, for example, or liver from ox or something, you could, it's anyway. So, but it won't be a problem if you get it from carrots, for example, because again, it's then the body just makes what it needs, you know. So it makes it into the form that is found in the liver. So anyway, line number 16, raw milk isn't safe to consume. Yeah, that's just, it's incredible how much it's like, oh, raw milk. It's like, oh, that's just, they have really demonized good nutrition, and it's just utter criminal. It's bullshit. But of course, it goes back, as far as I can see, it goes back to Rome in regards to the Antichrist, because many of the nations, for example, Denmark was a Protestant nation. They knew who the Antichrist was. So, of course, you want to make these people sick on so many levels and get them back under the wings of the Antichrist. And that's in regard to the special soldiers of Satan, which is the Jesuits. Just go and read the Jesuit Oath, or maybe the Knights of Malta Oath, or the Knights of Columbus Oath, or those others and all that. Anyway, primarily go to the Jesuit Oath. That's I guess that's the longest as far as I know. Actually, there's seems to be some long one in some of the other knights, but they're all working for the Antichrist. So, and the Freemasons as well. So all of them, and pretty much all these organizations, pretty much you have all these organizations in the world pretty much just working for the Roman Emperor, or the black or his, what shall we say, shadow of the Antichrist, which is the Black Pope, or the Black Pope, the general of the Jesuits. Anyway, so lie number 16, raw milk isn't safe to consume. Okay, lie number 17, vegetarian and vegan diets keep away sickness. Yeah, I was so stupid to get into that bullshit. That was just the worst thing. I saw these propaganda videos and all that in regards of the truth. We were in the truth movement and all that, and all these things are going around, and you're seeing how bad the animals, and of course, we don't want the animals to have it bad. But that doesn't mean we should stop eating good, nutritious food in regards of red meat. I've tried chicken as well, and I've tried chicken and the other one. Fowl doesn't seem to do the same thing as red meat in regards to the same positive effect. There seems to be something in the red meat that just helps in regards of my issue down in south. So that would be like cow or sheep seems to do it. So fish doesn't seem to do it either in regards to the same. And of course, if one wants to have some good fish, there's the small fishes that has a lot of omega, fatty acid, or what is they called? I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, these small fishes that apparently people have so many problems with, I actually think they're pretty tasty. Sadly, I would have liked to find them observed in, fixed in water instead of. But anyway, that's, in any case, fish doesn't really do it in regards of my issue. So red meat, and more red meat is just, seems to have been the thing that, have worked for me in regards of that issue down south. At least it's not removing it, but it's stopping the itch. So at least you can now. Of course, I have the other issues. So it's but at the point where I only had the itch, which I pretty much had for 18 years or something like that, and issues down there. Of course, I felt it spreading in my body and so forward as well, but primarily it still was the itch that made me nuts, pretty much. And to know how to control that was just golden to figure out in some sense. And sadly, I just was so stupid, so I went to the bakery at some point and bought bread and, two of the times I bought sugary things. And it literally, the thing that I have in my body just exploded from my breast, up in my face, down in my stomach, down in my balls, in my legs and all that. And, you could feel it crawling, you could feel itching, you can feel heat, you can feel, yeah, what's it called? Not feeling so good, pretty much. Feeling warmth and all that. Of course, in regards to the warmth and the pressure and all that, well, that is mostly in the head. Now, I'm still on the diflucan protocol here, and I'm hoping it will work. At least it's still there, but it seems to have. So hopefully it will kill it totally off. But I don't know if it will. But I've had hope for. You always have hope that the things will work, right? And yeah, and then you try, and then you end up, well, okay, I tried, and I need to have, and then you do other things because you go into a period of trying again, and then when it fails, okay, so you take a break from it and do other things, and then you again at some point, well, it's just again annoyance, and you try again, and anyway, that's pretty much on off over the years. Anyway, so line number 17, vegetarian and vegan diets keep away sickness. Line number 18, vitamin pills and supplements keep away sickness. Line 19, soy foods aren't bad for you. Line 20, antibiotics in moderation won't cause harm. Antibiotics means against life. And it's pretty much, penicillin, for example, comes from penicillium or something like that. I might be wrong in regards to the pronunciation, but that's mold, So they fix this mold in what's it called, incubator or whatever, where they grow the mold and feed it. I think they fed it sugar, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it was sugar. They saw this diagram of it. They're very proud that antibiotics is coming from. You see it again and again in the literature and regard. And I could probably search more and get more explanations in regards of. But anyway, they fed it something. I think it was sugar, and then of course it grows and makes a lot of mycotoxins and all that. And then they divide the fungus from the mycotoxins, and they put it in the pill. Mycotoxins in regards of fungus poison. So they take the fungus poison and put it in a pill. I do wonder if there could also be any if it's actually totally clean when they do it, because there's something called spores as well in regards of babies. Babies of the fungi. I don't know if they can sort out those as well, or if you're actually getting if there actually could be spores in the pills. I don't know if they have the. I've seen some in regards to vaccines and all that, and how disgusting that is. So it wouldn't be a surprise if there was also, if one would actually be able to find spores in the pills. But I don't know. It's just, a thought, because again, the spores are not that big. So anyway, but maybe they can't do it. I don't know. But in any case, it's still fungus poison. So let's see here. So antibiotics in moderation won't cause harm. That's line number 20. And line number 21, nuts are good for you. Conclusion. That's like 45 pages. So introduction. In the late 1800s, vegetable oils from corn and other seeds first came onto the market. No one was buying them because they tasted terrible, and people were eating animal fats such as lard, that's pig fat, of course, according to the Bible, that is unclean, or tallow, cow fat, and that would be considered clean, or sheep fat. Sheep fat is also considered tallow, apparently. So cow fat or sheep fat is considered clean, and of course, getting it from a clean source, an animal that has, been grazing and all that. Anyway. So these vegetable oil companies ran insidious and campaigns to make fraudulently health claims and demonize the competition of healthy saturated animal fats. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Jesuit had anything to do with that, because they seem to have, their hands in everything. Trying to make us sick and suffer and all that. And of course, a lot of Satanists believe that we're too many people on earth anyway, which is a big fat lie of Satan. But it makes it easier for people then to accept that they're, pretty much doing criminal stuff, because, we're too many people anyway, so, and I'll score some money at the same time, and then there's just, get some blinder on and so forth. So anyway, in a few short years, their propaganda machine killed the demand for delicious animal fats and created consumer demand for these disgusting vegetable oils. Is that how it actually is written? Vegetable? Maybe it is. There is one company I've seen from the US that sells tallow and all that. But I've looked at it, and of course it's going to cost a lot to actually get it from. But they had different kinds of fat. They actually had many different kinds of fat. The problem is, of course, was that they didn't have a lot of the things they didn't have at home when I looked into it. But of course, I would need to order that from the US, and that's, it was going to cost more to get into the country and all that. But at least I could try some different fats and try them out, which don't have sugar in it, like butter, and I really love butter. I really love butter. Butter is my favorite fat, but the problem is there's still sugar in it, and yeah. And again, that seems to apparently be able to, yeah. And what's like sugar? Well, fungus like sugar. Mike also talked about, and I read something in regards to that today in regards of, activated coal and all that. And I do wonder if that actually could help me in regards of getting some activated coal in the... Now, I'm not going to take it while I'm taking diflucan, at least, because diflucan is... a synthetic drug, so I don't want to waste the diflucan working in the body and so forward. Of course, some say that you can actually just, have 2 hours of, and it shouldn't, so if you take the medicine and wait 2 hours, it shouldn't be a problem, or maybe the other way around, I can't remember. Anyway, of course, one could actually just take 12 hours, right? So take the diflucan at one point and wait 12 hours to actually take the coal, the activated coal. But I don't know. Again, I haven't, tried much in regards to, but I think it actually, it seems to have some really positive effect on the body. So if it seems to actually be a pretty good thing maybe to take actually. To actually take the toxins out and actually help to clean your blood as well in regards of toxins that you have in the body, because you have like it's the activated coal sucks these things, and apparently also makes it easier for nutrients to be absorbed in the gut as well. So that's like 2 positive things. Just anyway, it sounded pretty good. If it actually does what they are saying, that sounds pretty awesome actually. And of course, it's I guess it's natural, right? So let's see. When the corn surplus hit in the mid-1950s, they put the scientists to work and discovered all sorts of ways to turn corn into other products, such as, and we also know in regards of margarine instead of that people eat margarine instead of butter. Just. What was it that margarine was from submarine fat from Germany or something like that, and then they sold it as that's at least something I've heard, and then they began to sell it to people. I think it's the pet doctor that talks about they first tried to sell it as a soap and it didn't work because everybody was still making soap or something like that, and then they began to we'll sell it as food. Like they have to, have to be kidding. How could people fall for these things? Anyway, so high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, fake vitamin C, ascorbic acid, aspartame. I'm not sure in regards to the fake vitamin C, ascorbic, if that would be fake. I'm not sure how where he gets that from in regards to fake. Anyway, I think it's ascorbic acid that I actually have in the powder I have at home here, but I think it actually also might be made from corn. They actually wrote back, but I need to specify which product I mean in regards to the vitamin C. I think that might be a problem. Of course, it's the thing is, could the product actually be contaminated also with mycotoxins if it's actually coming from corn or something like that? So anyway. Aspartame, I didn't know aspartame came from uh, turn corn into other products. I didn't know aspartame was actually from corn. Anyway, artificial flavors, artificial sweeteners, and synthetic vitamins. Most of those ingredients on packaged food labels that look strange or are hard to pronounce are probably derived from corn. Interesting. And then, it's interesting, also when you're looking at you want to know if, in regards of how many nutrients there is in a food, and it's just not on the package, And then you call them up and they say, it's too expensive, and there's rules in regards of what we can have on the package, and whatever, and that's just money, 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 it's money before man, instead of actually, whatever. And instead of actually thinking on the person that, could the person want to have that information? Yeah. But is he allowed to have that information? No. These companies are evil and have one goal: to make as much money as possible. Yeah, quantity over quality. And it's utterly disgusting. There's one milk in Denmark where they say grass-fed, so that's natural grass-fed and all that. Of course, there can be some problem, as I understand it, if the grass have been laying out there in the moisture and all that, and they feed the grass to the cows, there might be some fungal issues, as I understand it. But overall, it's like you're reading this in regards of this single place that makes milk from natural, feeding them natural things. It's like okay, so every other cow in Denmark is not fed natural. They're just given all these, things, unnatural things. It's like incredible. It's just incredible how it's just quantity over quality. How they are squeezing every kind of milk out of the cow. They want to have the cow produce a lot of milk because money, money, money. So instead of quality, they get quantity, and of course, because they do all these stupidities and all that, then there might be some problems with the milk. Well, maybe you didn't actually feed it right. Maybe you actually did a lot of bad things to the animal already. Maybe you should actually change in regards of how you keep your animals, But then, of course, they just warm the milk and pretty much kill off all the good things in the milk, make it even worse, It's just... it's incredible how it's just and Mike is absolutely on that in regards of how they just stupid. And by the way, Mike, I don't know if you actually will ever see this, but anyway, if anyone he talked about Europe having milk and all that, raw milk. That's not true. There's many different nations in Europe. The Roman European Union. We have different nations, where they actually, of course, I guess they are more like states under one nation in regards to the European Union now. But after was that Lisbon Treaty or something like that was forced through and all that. But in any case, what was it? In Denmark it's not legal to sell. I need to travel over 100 kilometers to actually get raw milk. And I don't know how he actually treats those cows and all that. One can actually come out to him and apparently walk around on his farm and see things, and that would be interesting for sure. And see how he actually treats the animals and in regards of the milk and so forward. But it's still, if one want, I don't have a car or anything like that, so it would still be problematic of actually getting a huge amount of. If I had a car or something like that, I could fill the whole car up with milk. Of course, he's only allowed to sell 70 liters, but I could fill it up with a good amount to maybe freeze down or something like that, or use different ways of using the milk, right? So, and try it out and see what would happen, make yogurt from it and all that. So Anyway, getting back to the text, most of those ingredients on packaged food labels that look strange or hard to pronounce are probably derived from corn. These companies are evil and only have one goal: to make as much money as possible. Yeah, your health is of no concern to them. Actually, I think it might actually be more of a promotion of sickness. They of course they don't care in regards of your health. They just want to make money, 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 money. But there might actually be a more devious agenda behind why things are as they are. They want to make us sick. And then, of course, we go to the doctors that then can sell us more of these stupidity pills and make us even more sick and slowly killing us off and never realizing that the protest was protesting against the Antichrist, and we are now being pretty much slaughtered in another level. And of course, in regards to the Inquisition, it's still ongoing. It's just, you just make some wars and then you can kill people, right? So you disguise the Inquisition in regards of war, and then you kill, you just get a lot of people killed. Anyway, they actually greatly profit from your. It's nothing new, Martin Luther wrote how the Antichrist was playing it all, playing the political game of different nations, and how he, and all that. So nothing has changed pretty much. Of course we have the black general running things in the background, but they actually greatly profit from your sickness by selling you toxic drugs, probably derived from corn. I don't know about that, but anyway. But you are smart and already have an idea something is amiss in the food and drug industry. Well, corruption is everywhere, and it's a bullshit system. They pretty much just wants to kill you, and it's very sad. We just have to, people need to wake up and care a little. But I guess when we suffer and all that, those that knows are suffering and have a hard time actually. And those that doesn't, hasn't any problems as of yet, well, they don't see anything because they're just, running their life. And of course, the devil has put so many things in front of us. So we always pretty much have something to do, and we never figure out what is actually going on. And what is going on is that the Jesuits are working for getting the Protestants back to the Antichrist, under the wings and authority of the Antichrist. That was the whole idea with the Reformation. The Reformation failed. That became a protest because they understood that this system is a most diabolical system, and it is, they are still working. And yet we Christians are not, because we have fallen asleep and we don't know we don't know the history anymore. And now the ecumenical movement, as far as I know, that is run by the Jesuits, well, are pretty much working its way back to Rome, and it's working. Yeshua didn't warn us about wolves like Muhammad, stinking wolves like Muhammad. You can smell miles away or kilometers away. He warned us about wolves in sheep clothing, if possible, could deceive the elect. Anyway, okay. Going back to it, I was in the same boat. I tried to treat my Crohn's disease and other digestive issues with drugs and just ended up poorer and more sick. I was not able to heal my gut, eat foods again without fear, and live my life until I weeded through the web of nutritional and health lies these evil companies have spun. Yeah, you say it, Mike, I agree, amen for that. These companies are in there, you either have, you cannot serve both mammon and God, So, and if you're serving mammon, of course it will go in the wrong direction. Mammon, money has to be like something second, this is something that just, is, you shouldn't compromise you shouldn't compromise truth in regards of, just because you can make a good score of money, right? You should always, if you know something is not healthy, and you should always provide all the information about that. Now, of course, the medical mafia with Latin bullshit language and all that are hiding a lot of things away from us because we don't understand what they're saying, and it's like reading the Bible in Latin, which the Rome didn't want the Bible in people's own language, because then of course they could read it, and that would be really bad, because then of course the Antichrist system would be exposed. The Roman Catholic maniac institution is not Christian. It's the Roman mystery religion with sheep clothing on, pretty much. So anyway, let's go forward. You are on the right path and are asking the right questions. This journey might seem daunting, but you really don't have a choice. It's either change to healthier habits and heal, or keep following the lies and continue to suffer and become more sick. Yeah, I wish I knew what I know now 19 years ago. And again, I might have been able to change the boat. Now I am on medical drugs at the moment in regards to diflucan. Because I don't know what else to, pretty much, tried so many things, and it's, it just doesn't go away and just become, I'm on diflucan at the moment, so that's how it goes. And of course it was very, very, very hard to actually let them give it to me, because, fungus couldn't be a problem, could it? Well, yeah, I think fungus is a big problem, actually. And they rather want to treat the symptoms than the cause. So, anyway, let's see here. So I'm going to help you get a huge head start. So let's see here. It's either change to healthier habits and heal, or keep following the lies and continue to suffer and become more sick. I'm going to help you get a huge head start. Mike seems to have done a lot of reading and so forward. I remember, I think I saw him first time in regards of Candida albicans, where he was explaining the gut thing and how it penetrates the gut and so forward, and all the spores and all that. It's kind of whatever. I think that might be some of the first videos that I saw with him. These are by no means all of the lies, and many are just popular confusion. And these are the most important and popular ones that will give you a big boost in your health. Okay. Before we get started with all the nutritional lies, we need to go over a few things. We have to look at our health from a correct perspective, otherwise it won't make sense. Okay, let's get to the point. Yeah, Mike, let's get to the point. By the way, he has a channel on YouTube, Mike the Gut Guy, so you can go look him up. He does have some pretty good information that are interesting, and so let's get to the point. This all might sound like one big conspiracy. Well, I think there's a lot of conspiracies against mankind and against the truth. So, the biggest and greatest conspiracy, I think, is against God in regards of Jehovah. We already see that in the Bible, of course, that the world conspires against Jehovah and his son. I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's Psalm 2, in regards to the Bible, that talks about that the world conspires against Jehovah. So, and God laughs, pretty much. So there is a big conspiracy in the world already ongoing by the Satanist that works for the Antichrist. And the Antichrist is in regards to the triune tyrant. It's the so-called Pope, the white Pope. That's the man of the number 666. Now, I do wonder in regards to the false prophet. I've looked into it. I haven't really pinpointed that. I thought that might be, but actually I'm thinking that the false prophet might actually be the general in regards of the Jesuits. I don't know, but it has two horns, right? So it's controlling two powers. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that one of these bishops talks about controlling North America and Europe, and to get the rest of the world under the foot of the Antichrist. So I don't know. I thought it was actually maybe a possible that it would be the U.S. in regards of two horns. You have the North and the South, and I actually found what I expected to find in regards. Hey, if there's two horns, there has to be like two nations being one in some sense. So, but of course, if you have the false prophet, because we know there's a lot of false prophecies coming from that organization as well, so that of course would make sense in regards of false prophet being promoted by the Jesuits, and if they actually if they use Europe and North America, that would be like two different horns to get the rest of the world under the. But again, that seems a little. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how it. But of course, in the future, when more details is revealed, we would, understand. We would get to understand who is actually, at some point, it will be pretty clear who the false prophet actually is. So, but at the moment, I'm a little hard to actually figure, what and so forth. Anyway, so let's get to the point. This all might sound like one big conspiracy, and we are being overly paranoid. No, I don't think we are being overly paranoid. I think we're being too little paranoid in some sense in regards of what is actually going on. We know the Jesuits is out there, and go read the Jesuit oath if you want to see how paranoid we might actually need to be. This is disgusting. The Jesuit oath is utterly disgusting, and this is the primary group, and there's many other groups working for the Antichrist. It's the Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, and we have all these intelligence services working for the Antichrist, and as far as I can see, even the mafia and all that. So you have different, you have this whole spider web all over the world, and everything seems to go back to the Antichrist. And he sets himself as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He pretty much takes all the titles that God has upon himself, He wants to be like God, Who wants to be like God? Well, Satan wants to be like God. Anyway, so I don't think we are paranoid enough. And I think that's one of the problems that we might be in the mess that we are in, because we didn't teach our children the truth. And we didn't confer the law, the LORE. I'm not sure if there's another better word in regards of our ancestors at some point didn't continue to teach us, and now women are not in the kitchen anymore, and they don't know anything, or and they get sick and all that, and thereby, if they can't keep themselves healthy, they have a harder time actually getting pregnant, and if they get pregnant, there's a greater chance for actually getting a sick child, and of course, the children growing up, undernourished, and in regards because the woman doesn't know how to cook, and the man is becoming weak as well, or is weak, and thereby Satan can pretty much just totally, all the pieces just breaks apart, and there we go. So it's just incredible. So we don't know what our and we don't eat a lot of the things that our ancestors ate. We're eating all these unnatural food sources, lots of sugar, lots of alcohol, and of course Mike seems to say that alcohol might goes into probably being a little disagreement on that. But the culture of alcohol in Denmark is absolutely horrendous in some sense. And it's always defended that it's Danish tradition. It's Danish tradition to go out and drink and drink and drink and drink. And it shouldn't be hard to see that alcoholics goes quickly down and get a lot of health issues and all that. It shouldn't be difficult to see that there's a problem in regards of drinking a lot of alcohol. Anyway, when we buy nutritious foods from ethical organic farms and follow sound holistic remedies, we support the good businesses and starve out the bad. It can only happen $1 at a time at the consumer level. And yeah, I think that's one of the things, I looked into buying sheep from other places, and you can get like a whole sheep, and they chop it up if and they give it, I was giving like in a box, and I was actually, I guess it wasn't actually that expensive to get a whole lamb, Can't remember the price, but it wasn't actually that bad compared to, paying for other meat and all that. And then you also know that you're supporting those, and it was, they came with it in a car and all that. So it's pretty great, pretty awesome. In order to evaluate certain health claims, probably you need a sound method. This will keep us from getting lost in the noise of conflicting health advice. Most health advice out there today is based off of lies or confusion. Many health studies are really just polls and or surveys, then operate off of the assumption ... If 100% of cancer patients drink water, therefore water causes cancer. Oh, okay, well, and yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of insanity in this world. Oh, you have to have a test group as well. Well, if the doctors have told that these 100 people or 50 people have cancer and they will die, and they are all getting cured, why would I need a test group, Yeah, but you do need a test. Well, you can see that they are living now. If they had cancer and they are cured, which probably is, as far as I understand it, just fungus, an overgrowth of fungi. That's pretty much just what cancer is. But of course, we don't want to talk about that because that would ruin our business, right? And and the river of blood that we are committing, and the blood money that they are getting, all these white coat murderers and butchers. Anyway, and people are just falling all around us, And at some point, it will be our turn. So if we don't care and want to, it will come. At some point, it will come and snip us in our butt, Anyway, remember, statistics are merely lying with numbers. Do not be fooled by bad or fraudulent lab studies. And that's another thing when you see these researchers and they say they are, by those that pay, that they are forced to, make their report say, things that is, it's just, that's what is it called? That's just, it's criminal. That's what it is. It's criminal, that's not okay. I don't think it's okay, And some people will defend it to say that it's just in regards of business and all that. No. We are way over that. There's never that this is not okay to change things and to turn the truth and destroy the truth and force lies on the public. That's never okay. It doesn't matter if it's that's just anyway. So remember back to high school science class how every variable needed to be monitored in order to determine which change produced which effect. There is an infinite amount of variables in human life. A small variable such as did a person drink raw or pasteurized milk, is a huge factor that an average scientist will just glaze over. People today are overwhelmed with compromised cognition from being malnourished, so it is important to question everything and have sound research principles. It is a constant battle of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. After reading this book, you will be at least 21 steps forward. And yeah, if you look at what they're, and there's the milk and there's dangerous milk and so forth, so we need to pasteurize it. Well, if there's something wrong with the milk, maybe you're treating the cows wrong. Maybe, because there shouldn't be anything wrong with the milk, like God created it and all that. Maybe you're doing something wrong, for, to the animals, right? If there's a problem with the raw milk coming out of it, could there be anything? Could you be feeding it antibiotics, hormones, or, feeding them unnatural foods, or putting them in a little room to stand, or, or pushing them to the limit in regards to producing milk, well, could it be anything of those or other things that could be, instead of just, milk is apparently just, evil milk. We have to now pasteurize it. That's all the bullshit and destroy enzymes, nutrients, vitamins, good bacteria and all that, you have to be kidding me. It's incredible how diabolical is this world. You just look around and you just see bullshit everywhere, pretty much. Bullshit, 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 and more bullshit. It's incredible. You wouldn't expect people actually to be so evil, but we are. We are evil people, apparently. Just give money to a person, and apparently he will do anything and everything, right? Anyway, and brainwash him into a education, and let him speak a foreign language that no person can understand, and hide away the truth in regards of sickness and all that. Like we have the Mike actually talked about that in regards of itis. What does itis mean? It means inflammation. So anyway, but of course the person won't know about that, because they will just get one of these Latin, words that, and of course if you don't speak Latin or Greek, and how are you to understand? Yeah, it's just incredible. And it's not because these doctors are more clever than just speaking another language, So you don't become clever just because you know a foreign language, Anyway, we only follow health studies with hard evidence, and here's an example. George Catlin was a New York attorney who foresaw the demise of the Native Americans in the 1850s. He was fascinated with them and decided to quit his job and trek west. He wanted to document the Native Americans through his writings and self-taught painting skills. Most of the painting of Native Americans that you see today were done by George Catlin, apparently. I guess that, but of course and here is where he traveled. So George Catlin was a self-taught painter and writer determined to document the Native American way of life. The red lines are all the path he traveled across the North American continent. George Catlin wrote a book entitled Shut Your Mouth and Save Your Life, which claimed that breathing through your mouth is the cause of all disease. Now, we all know this isn't true, but in this book he made some shocking observations of the supreme Native American health. George would come into these tribes and ask questions such as, isn't that, by the way, in regards to the nose, isn't there a filter in the nose? In regards of when you do, I thought that was something in regards of that, in regards of differences in regards to the nose and the mouth, that there was actually a filter in the nose, that would filtrate the, I don't know, maybe that's just bullshit. Okay, so he asked, how many women die in childbirth? Question mark. How many mentally challenged people are in your tribe? Question mark. How many infants and children live past the age of 5? Question mark. How many people die from disease? Question mark. The chieftains and the elders of the tribe would stare back at him in utter confusion and say, we do not know what you're talking about. Those sorts of illnesses do not happen here. These conversations were often very difficult to have since their language did not have words for these illnesses and diseases, because they did not exist in their societies. What were these natives doing to produce such great health? Question mark. The man who best documented this ancestral wisdom is Weston A. Price. That was the dentist that went around the world, and the dentist that figured out. And again, there's different people, talking about Weston A. Price and all that, and he seemed to have done a pretty good job on, a lot of people are going back to that guy. I think that the other guy that in regards of he made a book in regards of dentist and all that. What was that called? I think sadly I saw some information that said he actually had died of cancer. Not sure. Maybe he was poisoned by the Jesuits. I don't know. Getting information to the public in regards of healthy, might not be so good for. I don't know, but just thinking. The Jesuits have a way of killing people in so many different ways, they can. So they're really sophisticated, So the man who best documented this are the knights of whatever, I guess they are actually a form of knights already. Some say they actually go back to the Knights of Templars. Apparently, in the beginning, they were called the Knights of Mary. Apparently, that was the beginning. But of course, they're known as the Society of Jesus in our days. Well, of course, not that many actually knows about the Jesuits anymore, it seems, but because they don't care about the Bible and they don't care about truth anymore, they haven't been instructed in the truth, because the preachers behind the pulpit doesn't speak about it, and if they speak about anything, they're singing love songs to the Antichrist. It's just bullshit. Any man behind the pulpit in a Protestant church that speaks love songs to the Antichrist should be kicked out the church at the instant, If he can't even teach who the Antichrist of the number 666 is, what is he standing there on the podium? We know there are wolves in sheep clothing, so of course the first thing you would do, just throw them out the church building pretty much. Why would you be, why would anyone allow a man like that teaching, or whatever, maybe a woman, whatever? There's a lot of the priests in Denmark, or at least a good number of the priests in Denmark are Freemasons. Freemasonry is Satanism, and actually they think they are also the Templars of Night and all that. I have some of I have a book on their what do you call it, on their ceremonies and all that, and they seem to believe that they are Templars as well. But anyway, I guess I lost the point. I think there was some point in regards to the Jesuits, but yeah, anyway, the Jesuits was created to get the Protestant back under the wings of the Pope. So whatever the Antichrist lost, this organization, is to get back. That's their goal, and they're still working today. And yet the Protestants have no idea, because the Protestants have no idea who their ancestors protested against, and they have no idea in regards of truth anymore, because no one tells them anything, or they don't want to actually hear it because it's not political correct, But who wants to be political correct in regards of being agreement in regards to the Antichrist? I don't care about what he thinks, I don't care if he doesn't have any authority over me as a Christian. He can pretty much, I hope he repent, and I don't know if if a person in the position can actually repent, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess it might be possible, to if he actually repents of, I don't know. He probably will be killed if he did that. I don't know. But it would be nice to actually see some of these people come out of this wicked organization. The Jesuits, people, high level Freemasons, high level, whatever out there. Come out and follow Christ and stop, being a part of this diabolical system. It's wicked. Anyway, actually, it's the greatest deception of Satan is out there. That's Roman Catholicism. And that was what, Yeshua warned us about, wolves in sheep clothing, right? So where are the wolves in sheep clothing? Well, look to Rome, and there you will find the Antichrist. At least until Rome is destroyed at some point, as far as I understand it. But the papacy will continue. That will still continue until Yeshua returns and kick him in the lake of fire. Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, but anyway, he's going. Yeshua is coming back, and then the Antichrist is, and the false prophet as well, into the lake of fire. So the man who best documented this ancestral wisdom is Weston A. Price. In the 1930s, a dental pioneer determined to find the best solutions for the declining dental health of America. So in the 1930s, we already knew how we could fix our teeth, or at least around 1930. So that's 80 years ago, and yet they're still drilling in people. It's incredible how wicked a world we have. I was very close to actually let them. The thing is that I needed some in regards of I needed some help from the state in regards of, and they hadn't really fixed in regards of the money and all that, so they didn't take my three teeth out. There are two teeth. I think it's two pullings and one that they wanted to fix, and they did use some of the while they were getting ready to it, and but I'm actually pretty happy at this instant in some sense that they didn't actually that the government hadn't paid the bill at that point, and that actually it stopped, because I would have lost three teeth. And again, I do, having these teeth, I might, who knows, maybe I'll be able to turn it around. I don't know. It's hard to get the good nutrition and all that, but fixing the diet in the right direction should absolutely, and it does seem to, I don't really have any pain in my, it's, at the point where that was, but then of course I've changed my diet so much, so already that seems to actually have helped. I don't really feel it, and I at the moment, and of course you can just eat some of these gloves. They're pretty tasty and all that. That also is said to help on the pain and all that. But overall, sitting here, I don't really have any. I'm not feeling any pain in my teeth at the moment. And I haven't, after, I think I was probably at the dentist before I went on the meat diet and all that, where, sugar was, really, really lowered, yeah. And trying different things. So again, I think I might be able to solve it if I could get the right nutrition and all that, and get the resources for it as well. I guess that's one of the problem in regards of resources, right? Money, and all that, because it's expensive to, and when you actually need to actually order from the outside and all that, and or get, it's just it's not cheap. Of course, my joints have problems, but I think I might actually be able to fix that as well if I can get the right things. So, for example, there are things on a cow that has a lot of, and of course, chicken feet. It's also said to be very good for the joint. So chicken feet and like the tails of an cow, for example, have a lot of gelatin or something like that in it, and so if I could get those two things as well into the diet, and of course fix was like fish eggs and such things, a lot of the things that Mike are talking about already, so that's nice, so let's see, but I'm not sure, it's going downhill, of course, and it's not really feeling like anyway, so let's see. The chieftains and the elders of the tribe would stare back at him in utter confusion and say, "We do not know what you're talking about. Those sorts of illnesses do not happen here." These conversions were often very difficult to have, since their language did not have words for these illnesses and diseases, because they did not exist in their societies. What were these natives doing to produce such great health? And of course, also high meat, they call it high meat, where they ferment meat. That would be an interesting fermentation to try out, actually. Getting some liver or whatever and just put it in a glass and just letting it stand. And I actually have a lot of glasses from my time of doing a lot of sauerkraut and this and that. I tried many different things and so I have like 5 little glasses that I could make pretty good amount of, I guess it might be a good idea to just small glasses in the beginning to just try it out how it actually, but doesn't seem like it's actually that difficult. You put the liver in a glass and you close it up and there you go. You let it sit for a month or something like that, and apparently it's the bacteria will do the rest. So I have the glasses for that at least, so I don't need to buy glasses. I have so that's nice. The same with the yogurt and all that. The glasses can be made to make yogurt, and But of course, it would be nice with a machine that actually could keep it warm, so it could, keep the good bacteria. Let it make it quicker and all that. Make the yogurt quicker. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to it. The man who best documents this ancestral wisdom is Weston Price in the 1930s, a dental pioneer determined to find the best solution for the declining dental health of America. Even though dentistry was improving, the overall American dental health declined. He recognized those practices was just covering up the symptoms instead of addressing the root cause of the problem. And he's right. Of course, if you're getting holes in your teeth, the question is, why are you getting holes in your teeth? What is the cause? And not treat the symptom. What is the cause? His brother worked for National Geographic, but of course there's no money in curing the thing, right? And telling the people how to actually keep healthy, because people, it's like people are trying to be healthy, right? It's they're fed that stuff. The problem is they're fed bullshit. It's just it's incredible. But in regards to the gloves, if you have any teeth, aching or whatever, you can try to eat some gloves. Just put them in your mouth and chew them up and all that. I have a way of just swallowing them as well when I'm done with it. I do see that some of them actually seems to end up in the toilet. But anyway, whatever. But if you sit and chew them for a longer while, they get pretty chewed up. And that in some sense numbs the mouth as well, and it's antimicrobial. I think it was actually both antibacterial, antifungal, and I guess maybe also antivirus. But at least they're full of antioxidants. They're like the number one in regards of antioxidants and the number one in regards of phenols. And I think and being antifungal is very nice, right? And I have been eating a lot of them, and I haven't really seen any. I saw this scare thing that you could this and that, but I've been eating them like candy pretty much. Some of and I didn't really have any problem with it. So yeah, I think it's a good alternative to candy actually. Instead of eating candy, you want to have something, right? You not want to eat something, right? And this is like, just eat a little, just take one and you chew it up, and you take another one and chew it up, and yeah, it's just pretty great. I need to try the cinnamon as well, the Ceylon cinnamon. I tried the other one, and I'm pretty afraid that it might actually end up bad, because the cinnamon stick is pretty hard. But the cinnamon, what's it called, cassia, it's like 2 or 3 millimeters. It's pretty rough, so if you don't chew it and end up, one should be very careful in regards of swallowing and all that at that point. But you can actually take it in your mouth and actually just chew and chew and chew and chew, and it's actually pretty nice. You get a lot of flavor out of that. But I think the Ceylon might actually be better because it's really a thin paper. So that might be a lot easier to actually chew and eat and all that. And I've seen you can get the cinnamon where it's crushed up. I do wonder in regards to the cassia if you can actually, that might be easier actually already having been chewed up, so you don't end up getting a stick, in your throat or whatever in some sense if you're not chewing it. Anyway, but I want to try the Ceylon as well to see how that actually would go. So, if one could find something that can replace candy in some sense. So if you have the hunger for candy, you just go to the cloves or the cinnamon or dried meat, for example, and so forward. They're pretty good replacement for candy, and that's probably more. That's probably more that you could do something, Yeah. Anyway, so his brother worked for National Geographic, and at this time the last corners of the earth were being penciled in on the map. His brother reported that they were finding primitive people never touched by modern civilization, and they had the most gorgeous, beautiful, straight white teeth that they had ever seen. Weston A. Price thought to himself, dot dot dot, let's find out what they are doing to produce such perfect teeth and radiant health. I'm not sure why he's putting the dot dot dots in there, but anyway. I guess normally when you have like I don't know. I thought you would maybe do it like dot dot is like like more like a pause, I would think. But anyway, okay, let's find it. Just of course, it's not a big thing. But anyway, let's find out what they are doing to produce such perfect teeth and radiant health. And there you go with the apparently the different places. So Weston A. Price traveled to all reaches of the earth to study natives still on their traditional diet and compared them to their modernized neighbors, Swiss Alps, Scottish Isles, Eskimos near Arctic Circle. Arctic Circle. How does that work? Arctic Circle, I'm not sure. Anyway, Native American Indians, Arctic Circle, okay. Native American Indians as well. Yeah, okay. I guess it's not talking about the thing down here in regards. So anyway, what was it? I had something in regards of my mind here. I can't remember. I think I lost it sadly. African tribes along the Nile, Australian Aborigines, New Zealand, Polynesian, Iceland, Malaysian, Iceland, coastal Peru, highlands of Peru, Amazon jungle. So, also in regards of what? Oh yeah, eating insects. If you're going to eat any insects, go for the locust. The locusts are clean animals, and again, they actually taste pretty good. It's a little hard to actually describe how they actually taste, and again, the smaller ones of the locusts taste much more than the big ones, and it's also easier to chew as the small ones than the big ones. So it's a plus in some sense, the big ones are the bigger, and it's just the small ones are just more tasty and have more flavor. And it's easier to eat, So it's a win-win situation. If you can find them frozen or something like that, they're pretty good. I'm thinking, and of course I haven't tried this because there's sugar in ketchup and all that. But I was thinking this is incredible good for having some ketchup, like having pommes frites. Or what is it called in English? Pommes frites, the potato thing and all that. Remembering them, I love ketchup and all that. And I think it would actually be a very good thing to, if you don't have problems with sugar and all that, having some ketchup and eating these locusts, I think it would be pretty tasty, actually. I don't know if there's probably a way one could maybe make a ketchup without sugar or something. I don't know, but yeah, they're pretty tasty just on their own. You can just eat them like a snack. Actually, that's a pretty good snack as well. We just can eat them. Just a little snack. It's like eating chips nearly. Yeah. It's just a little hard to get over the first one. So it's a little hard. Thinking of actually chewing up insects, but. In regards to worms and such things, and they're considered unclean in the Bible. So go for the locust primarily. Those that fly around and all that, and eats a lot of vegetables and all that. You can also find them on YouTube where the Jews are collecting them for eating, and they put chocolate on them, for example, or whatever. So it's kosher. It's a clean animal. It's considered clean. I think John the Baptist was eating locust, if I remember correctly. So there you go. He was eating honey and locust. So Weston A. Price found the same thing wherever he went. The natives were still on their, I guess, in regards to... Oh, he must have actually, when he was eating honey, I guess he must actually have taken the locust and put in the honey and eaten those. I was thinking, how does he actually just eat honey? I'm thinking, he probably just was eating locusts with honey, maybe dipping it down in the honey, and eating I don't know. I don't know how you can actually, I don't know how could you get locust all year? I don't know. maybe they had some farms, or maybe just, pick them up outside in nature, and some of them are pretty huge. Some of the things that I don't know. There's different species and all that, and there are some where they are where you shouldn't eat them. Where they go ballistic and they go into this, really color mode and all that. And as I understand it, then they actually eat poisonous things at that point. But again, it is shown by how they look if they're actually beginning to eat poisonous things. I don't know if one could, eat them if they got all of the thing. But anyway, yeah. Usually we would probably also wait, to make them poo, right, before you actually eat them and all that. So, in any sense, I don't know. But as I understood it, that they were actually that they were in the poisonous form at that point, and then it would be no go to eat them. Anyway, Weston A. Price found the same thing wherever he went. There's two. They have like a standard version, and then they can go haywire and go into morph, I guess, into somewhat of a difference. Yeah. Anyway, so very very interesting, I guess. But yeah, Weston A. Price found the same thing wherever he went. The natives that were still on their ancestral diets of nutrient-dense foods had a cavity rate close to 0, perfectly straight teeth, and were highly immune to other diseases. Even teeth affected by cavities simply healed themselves. The natives who had adopted a modern diet had a very high rate of cavities, dental deformities, and suffered from an array of diseases. So what made all these issues? Well, the modern diet, that we have in the West. So, yeah, so something is wrong. Should we change? Yeah, I think we should. Maybe we should get back to a good diet so we actually don't have sick people. That would be nice. Then people wouldn't suffer. We could stop the suffering on so many levels. Anyway, so, and I think the guy that made the other, he was also using his resources, and he wrote that book, and he also talked about, when in regards of going to a place, and if you just ate what they ate and drank the milk and all that, if you had any cavities, they would disappear. That's pretty awesome information. Why didn't your dentist tell you that? Oh, I don't know if there's any place you could actually go today and still have this wonderful. It would be nice, right? I guess it might nearly be the same price, right? Because the dentist is very expensive. So and then you would have all your teeth, of course. In 1939, he published his book entitled Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, which documents his many travels and clearly illustrates what native populations ate to produce good health. The research is very thorough and supported by concrete data and at least 100 photos. And here we go with a photo. That's not that good in regards of on my it's because it fixes the colors differently and all that. But the thing is, this guy over here is the one that actually eats the still the same diet, and the other guy is the one that eats the Western diet. It does seem a little where he looks like I don't know how much they actually did in regards of just seems one guy looks very slick and the other guy looks very but anyway, these are two brothers from the Scottish Isles. The brother on the left stayed on his traditional diet, resulting in no cavities and supreme health. The brother on the right adopted modern foods and suffered from dental decay and poor health. Weston A. Price observed this trend everywhere he visited, and there was something in regards of one actually being able to go up in the morning and the other guy having a really hard time actually getting up, and getting started and so forward. It is interesting if the one guy can actually see his brother is actually eating another diet and actually. I do wonder why no one actually are thinking, well, maybe I should stop eating what I eat and eat like my my brother. But anyway, the primitive wisdom found in Weston A. Price book and other early explorers documented the supreme health of the natives. So this must be our baseline. They did X, Y, and Z to produce excellent health. We must understand why they ate certain food or did certain things and try to understand and validate it with modern science. Also, there's something in regards of minerals as well, in regards of ashes. Apparently some of these societies apparently used ashes in their, in their diet as well, as far as I remember. I don't know how that would work. That was one of the reasons I tried to burn some of the seaweed, because there's a lot of nutrients in the seaweed. So I don't know. I thought it might actually. I might be wrong, but I tried to make some ashes out of it. It didn't actually taste that bad, and you could just put a little in, for example, meat that is chopped up, but anyway, let's see here. Mother Nature made us. Well, that's not exactly true, but anyway, all living beings are governed by her laws. Well, actually, it's God's law. It's Jehovah that created man in the beginning of creation around 6,000 years ago. But anyway, all animals are governed by Mother Nature, including humans. If we do not give her the correct nutrients to operate our bodies, we will succumb to disease. Mother Nature, or God, or whatever you believe, designed us to be perfect, but perfect doesn't mean we can neglect our bodies. We are pretty much strayed from what is, the norm or the normal thing that we should do, and we have went with all these. Every time man gets his hands into something, it seems it just breaks pretty much. We're just doing stupid and stupid and stupid pretty much. Nature is relentless, accountant. Her records are indelible, etched into photoplasm of our tissues. Enzyme Nutrition by Dr. Edward Howell. Matter cannot be destroyed. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. I guess that's God that actually makes it. But anyway, we need to give our body the proper nutrients so it can do its job. Your body cannot magically produce good health if it does not have the required nutrients. Different animals can synthesize different sets of vitamins, or in other words, convert one vitamin into another. Humans probably have the worst capabilities in the animal kingdom on converting vitamins. Animal studies are a great tool for us, but we need to be aware that while mammalian life is quite similar, there are small but very important differences. What is mammalian? The wild mammalian, what is that? Can I even, that's bad. I can't even take the word. Mammalian. It's mammalian. Let's see, mammalian, mammalian. I have headache at the moment, I have this headache since I don't know a good amount of the day, I guess, that I've had this headache. I'm not sure why. Now it's not a total great, it's not like totally, it could be a lot worse. I guess it can always be worse. But it could, it's not a totally where it's just totally horrible, but it's there for sure. I'm not sure why. So mammalian. I don't know. Anyway, so whatever the word is, mammalian life is quite similar. There are small but very important differences. For example, a dog, a rat, and a cow have very different digestive machinery. That's very nice. Mike is very good at showing how there's differences in regards to the digestive machinery. And of course, I remember seeing somebody else talk about this, where they were like, when people were saying that, oh, a gorilla was eating this and that and so forward. And this guy was showing that this is utter bullshit, because a gorilla have different, things than from a human in regards to digestive and all that. So anyway, different digestive machinery are designed to digest certain foods, and I can't remember where that video was. So that was something I saw on YouTube. I know it has been drilled into us since elementary school that we are omnivores and we can eat both plants and animal foods, but that is a very dangerous statement. Yes, we are omnivores, but the digestive tract is primarily carnivorous. This means we must prepare or cook certain plant foods in distinct ways before eating them to make it less hard on our digestive system. So here we see in regards to the different digestions in regards of rodent, omnivore, and see how that works out in regards of a carnivore. That would be a dog. So a rodent or a dog, and dog is very simple. Then we have chicken omnivore, a little more. Then we go with pony herbivore, a little more complex, different things for sure. And then we have human omnivore. So it looks a little like actually the dog, a little longer than the dog, and then we have this thing in the behind. So anyway. It is and I don't know how these things works out in regards to gut and so forward. It is misleading to organize animals into groups such as herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. The digestive systems diagrammed above show that they are all very different and contain different parts that are designed to digest certain foods. Herbivores animals have specific digestive organs to digest fibrous foods. Plant cellulose, also known as fiber, is extremely hard to digest for humans. So again, plant cellulose, also known as fiber, is extremely hard to digest for humans, he says. Okay. Hence, we need to prepare fibrous foods in such a way that mimics the digestive organs of herbivore animals, since our carnivorous gut lacks this machinery. Or we could just eat that animal or drink its raw milk, which converted an extremely hard to digest plant into something much more nutrient dense and easier to digest. The few nutrients extracted from fibrous plants has to undergo many chemical reactions to be metabolized into flesh, bone, and blood. And I guess metabolized in regards to when the body does a process and all that. Our objective is to obtain the most nutrients and energy as possible with the least amount of effort. Yeah, we want to make it easy for the body to, yeah, I think, I don't know if he would. But, at least in regards of, when you're eating vegetables and fruit, there's a huge amount of output coming out in the toilet. If you're eating meat, it's nearly nothing, It's incredible how much it actually, how much it uses, Anyway. The math, science, and logic to perfect health. I've seen people adopt these healthy primitive diets and achieve good health, but still be plagued by many lingering issues. Nutrition is not the only factor at play. Let's look at some of the other the other hard facts of logic and organic chemistry. We need to think objectively what things are different. Why were the primitive healthy and I'm not? This is the equation I use to evaluate all my health decisions and health research. Health equals nutrients times enzymes. What is it called in English? I can't even remember what it's called in English. Divided by injury. So, you need to have nutrients times enzymes. So you have nutrients would of course be all the goody, and enzymes that is in regards of, I think, breaking down things to easier to get it in your body, I think. So that it makes pretty good sense if you have enzymes to break down the food so you easier can get the nutrients, and also have enzymes in the plus for the body to actually have I don't know how it all works out, but so let's see. Your body is constantly trying to up your health score. Enzymes process nutrients to increase your health score by magically, I'm not sure about that word, but anyway, by magically rearranging digested foods into flesh, blood, bone, and bodily actions. Injury subtracts from our health score at almost an exponential factor depending on the type, severity, and frequency of the injury. In chronic diseases, most people injure themselves multiple times a day without ever knowing it. And then we have I don't know if it's from Warcraft 3 or something like that. A lot of people play that, never played it, and I don't want to play it ever. One can waste a lot of time on things for sure. Anyway. Imagine you are a video game character. The green bar represents your health score. Currently your health bar is at 50%, when it should be at 100%. Injury comes in many forms, but it is the only thing that can drain your health. In this example, you're being attacked by an orc, and if you don't deal with this threat by killing it or running away, you will eventually die. Okay, I guess he's not at full health, is he? So anyway, or maybe that's not the health. Maybe that's something else. I don't know. Anyway. So don't deal with the threat by killing it or running away. You will eventually die. Chances are you have multiple sources of injury attacking your body. Maybe like fungus. Your body can only heal through passive health regeneration while in a rested state. If you think about it, there isn't anything you, a doctor or an herbal salver or something like that, salver can do to stitch you back together at the cellular level. Only the cells in your body can do that. The only way to increase the rate of healing is to improve bodily efficiency and injury avoidance. Yeah, to improve bodily efficiency. I guess in regards he was showing in regards to the six things, and he's also using honey. I must say I've tried honey, and that wasn't a really good it didn't seem to be a good idea. I tried I don't know if you could take the honey and put it in the yogurt and ferment the yogurt with the honey and still get the positive things by the honey and have it fermented into where the sugar is not so much there. That might be and maybe one could put some activated charcoal in that as well. The importance of enzymes. Without enzymes, we would be a useless pile of vitamins, minerals, and water. Enzyme Nutrition by Dr. Edward Howell. Enzymes are special proteins that do all the chemical reactions in your body. They are essentially the workers in your body. They swing the hammer that drives the nail into the wood. They smear the mortar between the bricks. And they are the paper pushers in the brain making important decisions. Think of all the processes that need to happen by the workers in the business. Likewise, enzymes are the workforce of the body. Your body is a business. It has raw materials coming in which get processed by your workers into products. If you're making a profit, great, you will be healthy. If you're operating at a loss, bad, you will get disease and die if you don't change before bankruptcy. So enzymes are specialists. I guess I didn't really get along here. And my head is a little, I don't know why I would be. Anyway, enzymes are special proteins that do all the chemical reactions in your body. They are essential, the workers in your body. They swing the hammer that drives the nail into the wood, okay? They smear the mortar between the bricks, and they are the paper pushers in your brain making important decisions. Think of all the processes that need to happen by the workers in a business. Likewise, enzymes are the workforce of the body. Your body is a business. It has raw materials coming in which get processed by your workers into products. If you're making a profit, great, you will be healthy. If you're operating at a loss, bad, you will get diseased and die if you don't change before bankruptcy. Anyway, we need to treat our workers right by making our foods easy to digest, hard to digest foods, and an enzymeless diet put a ton of stress on the body's enzyme system. This is the best illustrated in the work Pottinger's Cats by Dr. Francis Pottinger. He fed one group of the cats raw meat and raw milk, and the other group cooked meat and pasteurized milk from the same cows. The cats on the raw food diet were extremely healthy, and the cats on the cooked food diet were extremely sick. The cats on the cooked food diet became so sick after a few generations they were no longer able to reproduce. And we're eating these things, you know. I was just and again, it's like they just turn things upside down in regards of you know, oh, raw milk is bad, right? I do wonder in regards of raw meat. I guess the Bible doesn't say that we are, you know, that. I don't think the Bible says that we couldn't eat raw meat, you know. It says we're not to eat the blood, so. But I don't think it actually talks about if it's okay to eat it raw or not raw. I don't know how the body would actually break. You know, I know that meat that has been cooked is very easy for the body to break down, and well, I don't know in regards of easy to break down, but at least it uses a lot of the meat. You know, there's not that much output, so it's really using a lot of the meat. You know, taking it up. And so I don't know if it's a hard way to, you know, if it would be hard to digest, but I don't think so. As far as I understand and know. But I do wonder in regards of raw meat, you know, can you actually eat raw meat without any problem? And if you're eating an antifungal, anti-worm, what shall we say? You know, what is it called? If you added these anti-fungals and anti-worms and all that, you shouldn't get any problems with that, as you know, hopefully, if you actually eat it raw. So you would just added some of these things that kills off these things so they can't grow in your gut, right? But I don't know if how that works out in regards to the raw meat, if that actually would be healthier. Also to now, of course, these are cats, right? So, but you know, we have people, you know, going for eating raw meats, and the high meat seems to also be raw meat where they just let it ferment and they eat it afterwards. And apparently they get a kick out of it. It seems like people are getting a kick and getting lots of energy from it. I don't know why, but that's interesting, because I could need a good kick, you know, in regards of feeling more fresh. That's for sure. I don't, I feel tired all the time and all that. So if you actually had something that could help on that, you know, that would be nice. Yeah, that would be very, very nice, you know. Yeah, but this is interesting, I think, in regards of. So he fed one group raw meat and raw milk, and then the other these foods that we're usually. And the cats on the raw diet were extremely healthy, and the cats on the cooked food were extremely sick. The cats on the cooked food became so sick after a few generations they were no longer able to reproduce. Of course, I would like to see the test overall. It's sad that he didn't actually put a reference for that. I guess I could just do a search on that and all that. So let's see. When we look at the work of Dr. Edward Howell in his book Enzyme Nutrition, ... it becomes quite clear that the cats eating cooked food were becoming sick because there was too much stress on their enzyme systems or their workers. If you and I guess that makes pretty good sense. If you mistreat the workers in your business, they're going to get overwhelmed and do a bad job or quit. We also see this in Weston A. Price work, where all healthy primitives ate some of their food raw or fermented, which greatly reduced the enzymatic burden on their bodies. We got to the enzymes. Enzymatic. And of course, it would be nice if one could get some. I would love drinking some raw milk kefir, you know. So, raw and fermented food are high in enzymes. So, raw and fermented foods are high in enzymes. So, raw and fermented foods. Would that include the meat? Would meat actually have enzymes before it gets cooked? I don't know. So, raw and fermented foods are high in enzymes. Remember that cooking foods destroy these enzymes. So if meat has enzymes, I don't know if they have, but if meat have enzymes and you cook it, then you destroy the enzymes, and so it doesn't. Our digestive tract is capable of absorbing enzymes. How much work does the body have to perform to create millions of enzymes to digest a cooked meal? Question mark. Each enzyme is thousands of amino acids long that needs to be arranged in a very special pattern. Imagine putting together 1,000+ piece Lego sets 1,000 of times each meal. Let's not forget your body has to manufacture the Lego bricks as well. This is a huge pointless profit-killing work and taxes your body with every cooked meal. It is estimated that 15% of our protein utilization goes towards enzyme production. I do wonder if there's enzymes in red meat. It would be interesting to find out, because then people are some people are talking about eating raw meat, and of course that's interesting why they would feel that would actually. And I wonder if one could actually take, just make high meat and see how that goes. Anyway, let's see. Enzymes in red meat. Let's see here. Enzymes in red meat tolerance could be, I don't know. I don't really get anything up. Meat enzymes. I don't know. Essential amino acid content in red meat. It says your body uses digestive enzymes to break the protein down into a more usable form and all that. So there might be something. Here we go with red meat. It does a body good. Of course, they always say that you need to eat the meat after cooking. There are meat that actually is sold as, like tartar, that is sold as a thing that you eat. Maybe I should try buying that, because of course it should be already prepared for being eaten raw. I'm not sure about the other things in regards of. But it's kind of expensive, so it's not too cheap. Oh, it's time actually. Yeah, I should. Anyway, so let's see here. Were extremely sick. The cats on the cooked food diets became so sick after a few generations, they were no longer able to reproduce. When we look at the work of Dr. Edward Howell in his book Enzyme Nutrition, it becomes quite clear that the cats eating cooked food were becoming sick because there was too much stress on the enzyme systems of or their workers. If you mistreat the workers, and I guess, yeah, of course, you're destroying the enzymes in the milk as well. Yeah, it's just, this is this is a bullshit world. If you mistreat the workers in your business, they're going to get overwhelmed and do a bad job or quit. We also see this in Western A-price work, where all healthy primitives ate some of their food raw or fermented, which greatly reduced the enzymatic burden on their bodies. And of course, when the body doesn't need to produce all these, it can focus on other things, I guess. Less stress on that. I see the point. That would actually absolutely make sense. And I guess the raw high meat, where they might give a good amount of, I don't know, enzymes and all that. So if one takes one's diet and move in the direction of getting more enzymes into your body and replace all the bad foods with better food, high meat maybe. Again, it's interesting to see how people say that they get a high of it, and I guess maybe that's why it's called high meat. I don't know. But it seems to be pretty easy to make, actually. So raw and fermented foods are high in enzymes. So raw and fermented foods are high in enzymes. Remember that cooking food destroys these enzymes. So every time I'm cooking my meat, are you saying that I'm destroying all the enzymes in the meat? And thereby when I'm eating, the body needs to produce all the enzymes for breaking down whatever protein or what, I don't know how that works out. But anyway, our digestive tract is capable of absorbing assorting enzymes. How much work does the body have to perform to create millions of enzymes to digest a cooked meal? Each enzyme is 1,000 of amino acids long that needs to be arranged in a very special pattern. Imagine putting together 1,000 plus piece Lego set 1,000 of times each meal. Let's not forget your body has to manufacture the Lego bricks as well. This is huge, pointless, profit-killing work and taxes your body with every cooked meal. It is estimated that 50% of our protein utilization goes towards enzyme production. So protein utilization go towards enzyme production. Okay. These are the three types of enzymes. Raw food enzymes. Enzymes found in raw and fermented foods that aid with the digestion. Digestive enzymes. Enzymes mainly made by the pancreas to digest our foods. Metabolic enzymes. All the other millions of types of enzymes that produce the chemical reaction to keep us alive. Just one example of the 12 different types of injury: infection, bad bacteria and fungi that will eat you alive. Okay. So just one example of the 15 different types of injury: infection, bad bacteria, and fungi that will eat you alive. Let's pretend you live in a perfect world and everything is going smoothly. Nutrients come in and your enzymes process them into healthy flesh, blood, bone, and bodily action. In the business analogy, raw materials come in and workers process them into products, which gets sold at a profit. But what happens when we throw infection, which is bad bacteria and fungi that will eat you alive from the inside out, into the mix? Question mark. This is where a wrench gets thrown into the spokes of our finely tuned bicycle. Okay, finely tuned bicycle. I'm not sure in regard to the bicycle, but okay, finely tuned machinery maybe. But anyway, or maybe a motorbike. No. Machinery would be a pretty, I think. Anyway, I guess, whatever. We get the point. Imagine your construction workers are building a building and doing a great job, but every night thieves sneak into the construction site and steal materials and break stuff. it's going to derail the product by adding more labor cost and time because they now have redo work and replace stolen and damaged materials. Get that? Oh, my head is hurting. I don't know. The only thing I've changed was to take some psyllium, as I remember. So I'm not sure why my head is hurting at the moment. I haven't really changed much besides that. Maybe I just need more water. I don't know. I thought I've been drinking a lot of water. Of course, my next dose on the diflucan that would be the 12th day, I think, on diflucan. So, anyway. Let's see here. It's going to derail the project by adding more labor cost and time because they now have redo work and replace stolen and damaged materials. Infection is a vandalism of the body by foreign invaders. The body is designed to handle small infection, which is just petty vandalism. To handle small infection, which is just petty vandalism. By the way, vandalism comes from the Vandals that Rome pretty much destroyed, if I remember correctly. But when the Vandal force turns into an army, this is when your immune system becomes overwhelmed and disease starts to set in. Okay, but when the Vandal force turns into an enemy, this is when your immune system becomes overwhelmed and disease starts to set in. Yeah, okay. We have to learn how to handle infection. Modern medicine does a horrible job at fighting infection, but an awesome job at promoting infection and destroying your immune system. Yeah, amen. Antibiotics, which are against life, means against life, antibiotics, and actually fungus poison absolutely annihilate your immune system, and we wonder why we all have autoimmune diseases nowadays. 80% of your immune system is in your gut. Antibiotic destroys your gut and immune system. How is your body supposed to fight future infections when an antibiotic has destroyed your immune system? We have to use common sense. Well, it's big business, you know. You know, Mike, it's just big business, right? Who cares about the people as long as there's money in the coffle, right? You know, getting in the... Anyway, it's incredible how demonic this world is. Mother Nature always has perfect natural antibiotics and antifungals that empower the immune system and destroys the bad guys, whereas modern antibiotics destroys the good and the bad guys, leaving you defenseless. So whereas modern antibiotics destroy the good and bad guys, leaving you defenseless. Yeah. Of course, antibiotics are fungus poison. So. Or mold poison, you know, if you think that sounds better. But anyway, mold are just fungi. So these natural antibacterials and antifungals kill the bad guys. These natural antibacterials and antifungals kill the bad guys, empower the good guys, and nourish the body, and we see healthy primitive population using these natural infection-fighting substances with every meal, and modern people not using them at all or rarely using them at most. So here we go with the 6, and he's, you know, I've seen him talking about that before. It doesn't, I don't know where he puts the honey in, if it's in regards of acidity, maybe in regards of the honey, but he have activated charcoal on it, and that seems to be something that can help the body a lot as far as I could read, in regards of getting trash out. Iodine, I have used iodine in the past. I still have a little iodine. I really need to get some new bottles. But raw dairy. I feel like I'm getting more and more in regards of my head. It's bad. Maybe I should take a break. So anyway, I'll just end with these 6. Mother Nature 6 types of natural antimicrobials: raw dairy, herbal compounds, salts, iodine, activated charcoal or clay, and acidity. I guess I guess we'll stop here and take it from another point. I need to have a break. So have a good one. 2 hours and 15 minutes nearly, so that's pretty good to stop here. And may Jehovah bless you, and Yeshua be a most precious pearl, and the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth be in us all. Amen. Have a good one, all of you. Yeah, it's yeah, pretty good.